Good morning. How you doing? I am Zen. You are there. I thought we might talk about religions, uh, and I'd like to start perhaps with a question that Theo Vaughn posed this morning. If you don't know who Theo Vaughn is, he's a comedian, quite funny. He's from the swamps in New Orleans, and he just asked. It was a pretty simple question. Has anybody been to a a religious summer camp? And I have not, but I did go to like after school at a Baptist thing. Exactly. I did not know you were. No, it was because they had paintball and basketball, and it was like you just went to this church. It was like you get in the bus from the school to go to the church and play all these games. Good times, good times. What else I want to get into as well was some Zen koans, some teachings about paradoxes and corporations and the difference between church and states of being and state as a church. A few things. But I thought I'd get into maybe I'll wait for some people to show up before we continue this. If y'all don't know, I have another channel that's maybe a little larger than this. Maybe when you hear this channel will be the big channel. I don't know. Whatever. My other one I cannot use now. But I've recited a few great Zen koans on there. Maybe we'll get into, and the way that I do things is I usually wait for some people to show up, and I suppose not many people will show up here because it's an odd hour to do this, and this channel is not very big. So Mr. Mannion. Well, I guess as long as Dave's here, we can continue on because you guys can just rewind it and get to the beginning. So the question was posed: have I ever been to a religious summer camp or something? Which I have not, but I did go to after school. I did do communion, I guess. I did like the after school thing. I don't know how old I was, where like you went and you had to take the wafer and stuff. And I remember the wafer was funny. Like, you go do the thing. I don't know which religion that is. So this is how much I don't know. I didn't care. I remember you go up and you get the wafer. I put it in my mouth and I went back and I spit it out. It was like, why are they feeding me a piece of cardboard paper? It was really pretty funny. Anyway, so after school, I used to go to this Baptist place. I played soccer, and a couple of kids on the team were very, very religious. They were Baptist religious. It's funny because they were really wild out, cuckoo, crazy, goofy kids, but very religious. It was the hybridization was really interesting, looking back upon it. Anyway, so we go to this after school thing to play paintball and shoot basketball and pool table inside, video games. Oh, it's cool. It's like a little thing. And what they enticed you to do was stick around to do church service. Most kids would have their parents pick them up before they had to go into the church service. So they were realizing after doing this for months on end, the kids didn't really care about going in and listening to their gobbledygook, their nonsense. And one day they decided, hey, parents picking kids up, hey, we just give us 15 minutes or 30 minutes. This is what we do. We have to, kids got to like, parents are like, oh, okay. So everybody, the kids are like, yeah. So they're like shuffling us all into, what's up, Skull? Shoving us into this church to do a reading, whatever, read from the scriptures. Well, this day was interesting because they sat us all down, so we're all there in the pews. I think they called them pews because people fart in them all the time, and if you were to smell them, you'd be like, pew. And that's probably an old joke, but there you go. Fart jokes. 4 minutes in, got one out. And this day was interesting because what they would have you do is like, okay, everybody in meditation, close your eyes, put your forward. And is anybody in here would like to receive Christ today? And raise your hand. Everybody keep your head Head down. Raise your hand if you'd like to receive Christ, or if you had received Christ, raise your hand. Okay, now if put your hands down. If you want to receive Christ, raise your hand. And then they go, does anybody? And then they go, finally, does anybody here know someone that should receive Christ? And so kids would raise their hands apparently, and they'd be like, all right, so they would pick somebody from the crowd and say, well, who do you think needs to receive Christ today? Now, this is an interesting day because they're doing a reenactment of Christ getting brutally murdered and slaughtered and hammered to a cross. This is they made us play this out. Now, this is interesting because the kid sitting next to me, this crazy one, he's like, him. And so, like, I'm a kid, I don't know, the power of like persuasion and peer pressure and all that. They're like, oh, come to the front, we're gonna act this out. So they have me lay there like Christ, and as they're talking this whole thing, this is Jesus and Jesus on a cross, and they get another kid to grab a hammer and they got the mic right next to it, and he's not hammering into my hands, obviously, but then just goes, and this is what it would sound like if you were Christ, and as you're laying there, and they're doing that, and this is what they're acting out. This is literally, I'm like, this is what so instill the fear of God into you, of Christ into you. Needless to say, I never went back to that place, even to play basketball or to play paintball ever again, because that's completely ridiculous. That's psychological terror and ridiculous at best. But holy shit, was that funny? Like, it acted it out. And it just, like, the speakers just, that's what it would sound like. Took the sins for you. Well, you know what? If Jesus took the sins for all of us, if we're not sinning, then we're kind of ruining a platter that he put forth for us. Because we can do anything we want, right? That's why he did it, huh? Very funny, though. That was a pretty interesting day. So I never went back there. But let's continue and talk about religion. Religion is a legion, to be a legion again. A legion of what? Religion doesn't just mean like Judaism or Christianity or Baptist or whatever. Religion is a state is a religion. A statist. A corporation is a religion. A corporation, a church. You realize they're all corporations. You can file for basically being a religious entity. It's an entity, which is an entity is a corporation. A corporation is a dead body. A dead body is a corpse. It's an entity of a dead body, and all of those are. It's that it means to be encompassed in line and in tow with dead mentalities. The stagnant, unmoving, unchanging mind. So I mean, when they say there's no intersection between church and state, it always has been. Don't you think the entire like if you look into Egypt and Egyptology and what Egypt was and the religion that was going on there, you don't think that funneled its way into what we'd consider the United States? Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. No, none of that. That didn't happen. Huh? Not to mention the rest of the religions and how they're just byproducts of one other religion. Hey, but that's for another time. I just wanted to get the idea that corporations and religious entities, states, and countries or companies are all corporate dead entities filled up with living beings to re-enliven a dead being, a dead entity. Thus, they make giant buildings, and those buildings are temples. This is your temple here. Here you are. You're a living being. So that building there, it's dead, right? They're using all dead material. Man's hand built it, right? So if you just have an empty building, there's nothing in it. Now you can call that corporation XYZ, corporation whatever you want, corporation alphabet soup. It's just sitting there, dead. As soon as you put people into it, living spirits, we're not going to call them souls because soul means a singular thing. You develop a soul, you are a spirit. So you put a bunch of spirits into this entity, and now that entity is filled with the lifeblood of the people inside of it. And then you can divide things up and have fractions or factions of different corporations, religions, different legions. Why would you get on a warship? You want to worship? You want to pray? I'm a little confused with those two words. Why these people got to pray on everything? Because pray, isn't that what you do? Like they find something to kill and then eat its dead body. That's what praying is, right? And a warship is what you take to war. So I'm not sure why they've got so much worship and prayer going on there. Yeah, you might want to look into language and etymology and where these words come from. So getting away from that, getting into something like the practice of, say, Buddhism. It's not a religion, it's a practice. It's just because you see it as like there's many different things that people call religious that aren't. You can have what you might consider habits, everyday occurrences, observations that you'll do every day and practice something. That isn't, and you might call it a religious thing that you religiously get up and take a dump and wipe your butt. That could be, I guess, considered a religious action, because you're doing it again, but more apt, more appropriately. I don't think you'd call it religious. You just call it like, I don't know, respecting the temple and doing what is required to cleanse the temple proper. It wouldn't be necessarily religious. You're not doing it mindlessly, moronic behaviors because somebody said to do it. What if you didn't have, like, if you just didn't have to poop? Like, well, you got to poop. Like, no, you don't. You don't. I'm sorry, I was fasting. I don't have to. Yeah, but religiously, we have to do that every day. Well, it just can't happen. I don't have that bodily function right now. So you wouldn't be able to practice that religion, could you? So it's an observation of something. So in, say, Buddhism, what you'd have is different factions. So we can say factions within, or different, in maybe a casting system within Buddhism. And one of them would be called Zen Buddhists, and different things that they teach and they practice. It's teaching and practicing. It's called Noxis Praxis Intellicis. To know, to do, to become. Gnosis, Praxis Intellicis. So it's always about the becoming of something, where other religions tend to, they tell you something as a preacher or a teacher, and then you listen as the mass or the class or the ass and repeat it back, and you are always under the thumb of the guidance of the herder of the flock of sheep. Whereas in different practices, if you're learning from a master teacher to become a smith of metals, metallurgy, you want to become a baker. Somebody's better than you, but eventually you'll get there, and then you'll become that. That's the whole practice. I'll teach you, you'll practice, you'll become better, you'll be doing, and then you'll become the master of it. That's their goal. In religion, that's never the goal. Now, so if we look at something deeper in the ideas of meditation and Zen, koans is, see, some koans are really great because they give you the lesson. You don't have to think too hard about it. A lot of Zen koans, the art is ambiguity. It's to what I like to call confuse those who know, and those who are confused, help them know. You see somebody doesn't know what's going on, and you just go, slow down, still the burnt God in the building. You tell them, slow down, still the mind. Here, everything's fine. Just do it this way. Here, it's easy. You calm that scattered mind for people. And somebody that's so certain about something, you confuse the shit out of them. That's the true art of the Zen koan. You still the shaky, crazy waters, and the crazy waters you still. It's a pretty simple thing. But some Zen koans are really great because they just give you the whole thing. It's all packaged. It's a packaged item. They just, you get it. So no confusion necessary. Maybe I can recite one that I might know. Would you like to hear a Zen koan that I might know? How about this? There's two Zen practitioners walking down a trail. It has been raining. The roads are quite muddy, and there's a couple cricks or creeks going through the area. And one of them is Tanzen, and the other Ichibo. And Tanzen is maybe a little bit more advanced in the arts and practices. And so they're walking down this path, and they see a woman in a nice dress, and there's a creek in front of her, and she wants to cross it, but she doesn't want to dirty her dress. So Tanzen immediately goes, "Get over here, let me help you." Picks her up, carries her over the creek, gets her to the other side, puts her down, and him and Ichibo keep walking. Ichibo is visibly upset, and Tanzen goes, "Well, I can see that you're not very happy. What's your dilemma here? What's going on? Why is your mind not at ease?" And he goes, "You know the precepts. You know, as practitioners of Buddhism and some of the ideas that, you know, we don't touch women. We don't do that." He's like, he looks at him, and so Tanzen looks at him, and he goes, "I put her down back there. Why are you still carrying her?" That's a good one. I thoroughly enjoy that one. Guys like? Who else up here? Ichiballs. Ichibang. The Ichibang. No, the Ichibang. The Ichibang. How about the Ichibang? There's another couple that I really enjoy. Are you all familiar with the story of there's the grandfather, the father, and the son living in a village, farming village, and they're just on the outskirts of town, whatever, and they don't have any horses, and so the father's like, "Oh, we really need a horse. You know, it's getting towards winter. We need to get some things done. We need a horse." And the son, luckily, goes out one day, finds a horse. Comes back, he's like, "Father, I found a horse." And he goes, "Oh, what a great day, what a magical day, what a wonderful day." And the grandfather looks at the father and says, "Good, bad, who knows?" A couple days later, as the son is trying to break the horse so they can ride it, gets thrown off the horse, breaks the kid breaks his back. Father goes, "Well, what a terrible day. My son's back is broken. What a terrible day. This is the worst thing that's ever happened." The grandfather looks at the father and says, "Good, bad, who knows?" Father's like, "He's broke his back." A week or two later, kid's still bedridden, obviously can't move. Father's got a kind of hip in his step, kind of broke a leg early in life, can't really walk that well. But the grandfather, old as oatmeal and dirt, he's got like a cane. They can't walk. There's a war going on, and the faction of war, these soldiers come through for the king, and they're like, "We need any able-bodied men to come off and fight this war." And they look at the grandfather, obviously the father can't, and they go, "Look at the son, who's in shape or whatever. Nah, broke his back, can't go off to war." All the soldiers leave. Father looks at the son, "Oh, what a beautiful, wonderful day. Isn't this the greatest day ever?" Grandfather says, "Good day, bad day, who knows?" We could continue the story on for hours. Oh man, that's I got some incense that keeps blowing right in my face. Yes. Will Johnson, do I want to chat today? What is this? Do you want to chat? We can talk today if you want. I don't do chats, okay? What is this? What do you want to do? Text message? You want to chat? Chat it up? You want to AOL chat? You want to write poetry to each other and mail it to each other. Mm. Well, that will conclude the show today. Goodbye, everyone. I'm kidding. For everybody else, if anybody's new in the future, that will be pretty much what I wanted to discuss. And earlier with corporatocracy, well, I've done hours and hours on that in old videos, and I don't feel like doing that right now. But we'll just leave this open. So let's talk some mess about anything you guys want to talk about. So if anybody from the future that doesn't know of this channel, which we do here, feel free to stick around. We'll just it could turn into something. It could turn into very educational, or we could just be talking stupid stuff. We'll see. So what's up? What's going on, everybody? Skull, David, and Will are the ones who've put their fat faces forward. Yes, once I start alliterating, you know it's on. Alliteration. How about this? If you guys want to talk about anything, you guys can give me a 1 minute break so I can pour myself some more tomato juice. I'll be right back. So apparently nobody wants to say anything, huh? Just me in here. Well, if it's just going to be me, I will top chat. Let's see. Live chat. If it's just me and you guys don't have any specific questions or concepts you'd like to discuss, I will call this a show, and then I'll come back on maybe a little later and have a few more ideas as I just woke up. And I had a number of dreams last night. I woke up and there was, you know how sometimes you wake up and there's an echo of a part of a dream? I'll leave you with this. And it was like someone saying two words. A second one I couldn't quite make out, so I had to Google it when I woke up. And I didn't find anything that was that insightful, so I think the second word I couldn't quite get. Or you ever like just something that happens, like you have deja vu, but it's not deja vu anymore because you see it. Like a deja vu to me is a dream that you had, say, 2 weeks ago, and it's very, very faint. But then something happens in this waking life that is a resemblance of the dream, where when you wake up and you know your dream and then it happens during the day, that's much less deja vu. They're like, oh my God, I just dreamed that. They don't know how to explain it. It's not deja vu. They just go, but it is deja vu. It's just you're experiencing it and you know it. Can we talk about traveling at higher, lower realms of the dream state? Sure. This is something I used to be pretty efficient at, but then I was too busy in the dream world, and I didn't put too much emphasis on this life. I mean, I did. It was just, but it was a very mundane. I was like basically more. I was more isolated, introverted all the time, and then I just wanted to be more involved in this life because I was like, oh, I know so much. Maybe I should share that. And by always being in the dream realms, it was less. There was less to do here and more things to do there. But traveling through there to get there, the first would be the how to get there, and then getting in there. Well, first you need to be aware that that's what you want to do, and then you need to maintain your mind and focus, which is that's a whole long thing. How to get your mind into the place of having mind awake, body asleep. That's where you need to start. and how to get there. I have hundreds of videos on that. Might have to redo those soon. We'll see what's going on with my other channel. Maybe I'll have that back soon. But let's just start with let's pretend that everybody here knows how to at least get into lucid dreams, and furthermore get out of body or astral travel. I mean, that's such a Dave. That's such a really big question. I feel like that. I feel like let me just save that and do a video on that, because we're 25 minutes and I'd like to just leave the beginning at where it is, so I'll do an entire one, because I already see where my brain is going with this, because then I got to get into portals, going through sound portals and star systems, and then projecting, and then different levels of your dream, and then how to know the difference between out of body, astral projection, and lucid dreaming and subconscious dream. Like, there's so many things there. I mean, the higher realms and lower realms and densities and kind of beings there and things. Like, I probably wouldn't be well equipped to tell you about all the beings there. There's plenty of books on that and people that probably got it right. I mean, I've interacted. But I think maybe who's done people have done books like here's the realms and what you'll see in them. Forget trying to think of whose books they might be. I mean, Blavatsky probably did. Rudolf Steiner probably did. Maybe like, I don't think Krishnamurti would have, but those kinds. Trying to think of who off the top of my head. Bruce, Robert Bruce. He might have. Rudolf Steiner probably did. I'm just kind of spitballing here because I can't think of. I just know that there's a lot of authors that have just literally, like, that's probably the title of the book, like the realm, astral projection, and the realms and the people you meet there, that kind of thing. But yeah, let me just start, Dave. I'll just do a video later on that. I'll next time you're on, I'll just save it for then, and I'll retitle it or something. But we'll just leave this as a standalone. Yeah. So it's good to see everybody. I'm gonna dip out of here. Good to see you, Skull. Good to see you, Dave, Will, everybody else, whoever's in the background. And according to YouTube's right now, there's one person in here. Which yeah. And if you can remember the book, let me know if you know what I'm talking about. I mean, the book, but there's a bunch. Maybe I'll do that after when I get offline. C.W. Charles. That gave me a couple more ideas of who else might have done some books on it. I'll go do a little research. All right, guys. The astral trains and playing in his beings. Okay, if that's the one, yeah. That's one I didn't even know about. Was it Ledbetter? Ledbetter. There's that one too. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. That's good to see everybody. Stay well. You know how to donate. That make sure that my phone's on and my roof's over my head. Cash App, PayPal beneath. Blah blah blah. As always, do goofy things. Be fun. Be yourself. Take care. Help other people when you can, and take care of yourself if you can't do that. I'm ass out. Peace.